Hello and welcome to a journey of clarity, a personal exploration of getting in tune with yourself and in tune with others with your host, Dr. Natanael Costea. This is a journey of emotional and spiritual awareness, of discovery what life truly means, and a clear shift from an ego-driven world to a meaning-driven world. I believe we can become more in tune with our thoughts, our emotions, and our spirituality. And as we do that, we will make better decisions, have deeper connections, more fulfillment, and even more joy. This is a bit of clarity.
Well, hello everyone. It's such a joy to come and share with you today. I thank you for coming onto these podcasts or videocasts to watch us or to hear us, because we always have something new and fresh for you, and hopefully we bring value to you. Today, what I want to focus on it's in line with what we spoke in the previous chapter. It's on our strengths and weaknesses. Particularly me, when I hear about strengths and weaknesses, I don't always think about my strengths. I tend to look at my weaknesses, or I tend to think or be a little bit apprehended about the fact that I have to face some of my weaknesses. So I don't know if that's you. You probably are stronger and you quite boldly focus on your strengths. But I think sometimes we hesitate to look at what we have, how strong we are, the talents that we have, the talents that we honed, and they have become our strengths. So I think we need to keep a healthy balance between our strengths and our weaknesses. So my goal today is to help you have a sense of awareness of what your strengths and weaknesses are, so later on you can start managing those, regulating those. So I do have show notes for you. These are a bit of a hack if you want to know. And you can download those on our website at eq.org.au, eq.org.au. Also in the links of the podcast or of the videocast, you can download the show notes. I prepare these for you so you have a roadmap, so you have something to refer back to if you can't listen to the whole podcast. And because if you're like me, you listen to these podcasts while jogging, while driving, surely you don't have time to stop and take some notes, even though you would like to. Sometimes I listen to that podcast over and over again because there's so many wonderful things that I'm learning from other people as well. But because I want to help you and I want to bring value to you and a lot of ability to grow and develop yourself, I put these show notes together so you can have something to go with. So in the show notes on episode 11, the objective of today is to develop your understanding of your strengths and weaknesses. So we will look at our strengths, we will look at our weaknesses, and the goal is to raise that awareness in us. Areas of strength are defined as positive knowledge. So when we talk about our strengths, we talk about those things which are positively influencing us, and they've been matured, they've been seasoned, they have developed in us, and these are really working for us. They have to do with our attributes, our skills, our traits, and our talents. What are we good at, and how well do we perform in these? Areas of weakness are defined as the knowledge, attributes, skills, traits, and talents that are not as well developed or even problematic. So some of them are developed, they're matured, as I said, they're seasoned, they are positive, they're wonderful, we perform in those, we are naturally in those, we don't even have to try to do some of those, they just come to us naturally. And some of those we don't do so well in. Some of these are, they haven't been developed, they're not our natural talents, and we have problems with some of these. It's important for us to acknowledge which ones we're good at and the ones that we're not so good at. So driving here this morning, I was thinking, okay, Nathaniel, can you focus on your positive ones today, or will you just come out of the woods and bring you some, bring to the table some of the negative ones? So I hope today I am pretty balanced, so I can bring you some of my strengths and also some of my weakness to encourage you to do the same, to note them in your life as well. What are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? I will focus on the area of strengths now. Now, these areas of strengths that I will bring to you, they can be weaknesses as well. Last week we spoke about those virtues and values and the character strengths through the VA Institute. And I'm sure most of you would have already, if you listen to that podcast or videocast, you would have done the test, the survey, and you know now what you're good at and where you need to grow. And they're a little bit different, the ones that I'm showing you today or sharing with you today, but please know that they're pretty much the same as the other ones as well. They're just categorized differently. So the first area of strength is, number one, interpersonal areas of strength include leadership. So the first ones are the interpersonal ones. And these include leadership, teamwork, kindness, forgiveness, and fairness. How good are you? How strong are you in your leadership skills? Now, if I look at myself, this is one of my strong traits in leadership. I'm pretty good in the sense I offer leadership, I offer direction, I offer clarity, and this is an area that I've also wanted to grow in because I lead a number of organizations and ministries and other bits and pieces. So this is important for me. Leadership is important for me. So I work in this. Now, this is a strength for me, but let me tell you, it can also be a weakness. And it's a healthy balance here. It can be a weakness because when I walk into a room where I'm not the leader, I tend to think as a leader. So I tend to see those things that I'm missing or how to give better leadership. And if there's a discussion at a table or if there's a discussion going on and I am asked to provide some sort of a contribution, my tendency is to immediately take over the lead. And that is a bit of a weakness of mine because I don't always, I shouldn't do that, you know. I should just allow leadership to be given to me in that circle. And when I am to lead, that's when I should step up the platform. Teamwork. Very important. How good are you with teamwork? Is this your strength? Is this a weakness that you have? Do you perform well in teams? Do you know that you contribute to a team? Do you have a part to play in the team? Or are you more of an island? Are you more of an individual and you hope that everybody else do their part? When it comes to myself, when it comes to teamwork, in some areas I love teamwork and in some areas I have got work to do. Especially when people don't pull their weight and we have to, like the rest of the team has to push. It really annoys me, but I'm working on that as well. Kindness, how kind are we? This is an area where I'm a little bit weak. There's something that I need to work to become more kind. I'm usually quite strong and I demand a lot and I ask a lot of people, and kindness is an area where I need to develop. Forgiveness, when it comes to forgiveness, I think in my early years of being young, I was quite unforgiving in the sense I didn't care so much about this value. It wasn't a value for me. But as I age gracefully, I've learned more and more to forgive. And I think I'm developing in this, I'm growing in this strength. This has become more of a strength than a weakness for me. Fairness. Well, again, with fairness, I think I was quite, everything to me was black and white. It was very fair. This is right, this is wrong. And I think it's healthy to have it that way. But at times, it's quite blurry in there for me. So I've got work to do in that area as well. So I've just taken you a little bit through some of these, but I won't share everything as we go along. I won't give you my insights into all of it. But I want you to just see how I process this for myself to create that awareness. This is what I want you to do. As I read these out, as I explain these strengths, I want you to consider, how good am I at this? Or is this an area where I need to grow, to develop? So the first area was the interpersonal strengths. The second have to do with intellectual strengths. And this is the love of learning. Do you love to learn new things? Do you embrace the opportunity to learn new things? Or would you rather not? Would you rather not do another course, or would you rather not? And I'm not talking just about courses. I'm talking about learning to use a new app or a new software, or learning a new skill or a new hobby, or learning from somebody? Or are you pretty set, you're pretty happy with the way you are? Do you love learning? Do you love creativity? How creative are you? Is this a natural talent for you, or is this something that you should work on to improve? Curiosity. How curious are you of things, how things work, how things happen? Do you try new things? Are you curious to try new dishes on the menu? Or do you stick with the usual? You know, curiosity wasn't a big thing for me. But as I studied positive psychology, I began to become aware that I need to hone in this skill. So now I become more and more curious, especially having small children. They're always curious about everything. It's like my son the other day, he said, "Dad, what's with those wires that are just traveling with us along the side of the road?" He was curious. They were obviously electrical wires, just, electricity going through. And I explained to him, that's electricity that's coming through the homes. And he said, "Do we have one of those wires coming to our house?" I said, "Yes, it goes underground and comes into our house." He said, "Every house has a wire?" I said, "Yes, every house has an electrical cable coming to them. That's the only way we get electricity in the home." So see, the curiosity of a child is really beautiful, because to me that awareness wasn't there, but then it created in me a sense of curiosity about many other things that I see and that I observe that I pretty much ignore or I'm oblivious to. So it's great to have that skill as well, just developed. Open-mindedness. How open-minded are you? Are you rigid in your thinking, or do you have a growth mindset, as we spoke earlier, or are you pretty much set in your ways? The third area of strength is the emotional area, which includes zest, which is passion, hope. How hopeful are you, or how doomed are you? And bravery. How courageous are you to go forward, to go for it regardless of what happens? Do you have resilience? Do you have grit? Can you push on through life in every situation? And number 4, another area of strength, has to do with the restraint areas. How well do you hold back? How prudent are you? How well do you self-regulate, and how honest are you in every situation? Do you know how to hold back? Do you have self-restraining mechanisms? Can you deny yourself? Can you have a diet? Can you not say, people say to me, "Oh, I couldn't stop it. I had to say it." Well, do you have to say it? Can you stop your tongue? Can you stop your mouth? Or is there an opportunity for self-regulation? Then at number 5, there's another area of strength, theological areas of strength, which includes religious or faith, gratitude, and appreciation of beauty. How developed are these in you? Is your faith honed in? Have you developed your faith? Or is it an area that you've ignored totally? For me, this is one of my strengths, because I think, my identity is in my faith. The object of my faith is God. And obviously, the more I am connected with the divinity, with God, the stronger my ability to live as a full human being is, because I know who I am. And then I am in tune with what's going on in the universe, with what's going on in life, because things do make sense. So this is why this is one of my strengths. Gratitude. Now, I wasn't always full of gratitude. Thankfulness wasn't a part of my life. But as I learned positive psychology, now this was a skill that I had to learn, to develop. That's the beauty with emotional intelligence. All these skills you can learn, you can develop. Some come naturally, you're born with, but most of them you can develop. So I developed a sense of gratitude. In fact, I'm one of the most thankful person now in the world, because at everything that I do and everything that I see, I look for the best in every situation. And as I said, this wasn't an area where before I had any awareness, nor did I practice it in my life. But now every night, every morning, I'm just full of gratitude. When I pray, when I go about my day, and I'm teaching my children as well to be full of gratitude, to be grateful for the little things in life. And when your life is full of gratitude, then you are a happier person, you're full of hope, and you enjoy life to the fullest because you enjoy the little things in life. So where is this a strength for you, or is this an area where you can improve? What about appreciation of beauty? Can you see the beauty in everything that goes on? Can you see the beauty in people? When you look at somebody, what do you see in them? Look, before I used to be judgmental. I used to have my own preset ways, and it was quite harsh because my judgment was very wrong. And I'm sure that if you were judging people and looking at people, and after you spoke to them, you realize that, hey man, I didn't get this right at all. Yes, there's some intuition. In some cases we did get it right, but most of the time, I was wrong. And now I learned to appreciate the beauty. I learned to appreciate people. Now this has become a strength, even though this was a weakness for me. I learned to appreciate nature. I learned to appreciate so many wonderful things, even technology, even cars, even, whatever man has made, more so what God has made in this creation. So, you learn to be grateful and full of appreciation. So I'm not sure if these are strengths for you or weaknesses, but today all I want to bring you is an awareness. So you become awakened to this reality and to see for yourself where you are with these things. Knowing your strengths and weaknesses, the next little section in my notes. Knowing your personal areas of strength and weaknesses is not always easy. That's why we're bringing this awareness today. It takes self-awareness and self-reflection. So you got to really look at yourself in the mirror of your soul. Am I doing well? Am I not doing so well? Do I understand this? Do I not understand this? Do I need to spend more time with myself to get in tune with myself, to understand what's going on in my mind, in my heart, or do I have a good grip on this? So ask yourself, what are you good at? Ask somebody you trust to tell you what are your areas of strength and what are your areas of weakness. The benefits are invitational to take action today. So if you find your areas of strengths and you also find your weaknesses, you benefit from the fact that now you can do something about them. Before, if you weren't aware of them, if you didn't have that self-reflection or you didn't ask somebody to help you out with these, you wouldn't be able to manage them or do anything about them. That's why the first ingredient of emotional intelligence is self-awareness. So you become aware of what's going on inside of you, you become aware of what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and then you can do something about them. So the benefits are huge. So do take this chapter of the teaching quite seriously and just run with it and grab hold of it and implement it in your life. Knowing your areas of strength and weaknesses increases self-awareness. So the deeper you go in this journey to discover yourself, to find yourself, the more self-aware you become. As these strengths are honed in, as these strengths are developed, you will know what you're doing because you're in control. Number two, knowing your areas of strength and weakness shows you how to move forward. Once you know where you are, it gives you an opportunity, it gives you a pathway to develop this, to grow in this, and it shows that you want to grow, you want to move forward. And this is an amazing opportunity to move forward. And if you know your strength and weakness, also this will show you what you need to improve. So what's missing in my life? What am I doing well at? And what do I need to improve? So that's why you create this sense of awareness of what's going on in your life. I've also put there a section titled Engage Strengths and Manage Weakness. Focus more on engaging and fully engaging your strengths. As I said today, as I was driving in, I was thinking, when I'll be talking about this, will I focus on my weaknesses or will I focus on my strengths? The tendency for me, as I said, was always to look at my weaknesses and say, well, what can I do about these? If I'm too judgmental, what can I do to become not so judgmental? If I am, if I am not creative enough, or if I don't love learning enough, what can I do to love learning more? So, we tend to look at the weaknesses that we have. But what about looking at the strengths that we have and really fine-tuning our strengths and becoming the very best version of ourselves with our strengths. Because these are quite easy for us to do. You know, those things that we are good at, we can do quite easily. There's not a lot of effort for us to do those things. So become the very best version of yourself at those things that you're good at. Become a specialist, become an expert, and run with these strengths and hone them and develop them and get more and more fully engaged with them. So don't be shy in identifying this. Don't be shy in writing them down. Don't be shy in making a list of what you're good at, because this is very important to have this awareness, because this will give you courage. This will give you grit. This will help you carry on the tasks that you're doing, the goals that you have, both in your personal life, in your professional life, in whatever areas of life that you need to apply this. And then manage your weaknesses, considering the difference between weakness and non-talent. So there's something is a weakness and something else is a non-talent. A non-talent is a behavior that is consistently a struggle, something that you don't like doing, something that if somebody got you to do, you wouldn't like doing it at all. But a non-talent can become a problem when you need to engage this frequently. So for example, I don't like laborious work, and I'm not good at laborious work. So if you get me to carry, sand or bricks or anything that's extremely heavy, I don't have the talent, I don't have the ways of doing the lifting, the pushing, I don't have the skills. And yes, I don't have the talent for that, but this can become a weakness if I continue to do that, if I continue to do something that I'm not good at. Also, some aspects of trade. For example, I can't tile. If somebody says to me, Nathaniel, can you do some tiling in my house? Well, I simply don't have that talent. I can't do that construction work, And even if I tried really hard, I can probably get there, but nor do I like doing tiling. So I don't have the talent to do that, trade work, nor do I have the patience. And if I continue to push against that, that will become a more evident weakness in my life. So rather than, unless I really, really have to tile, why should I spend endless hours trying to hone in a skill that will benefit me very little? I can be honest with myself, I can be vulnerable and say, look, tiling is not my thing. So what I will do is I will delegate that job. I will get somebody else who loves tiling, who's good at it, to do that job for me, and I will carry on and develop my strengths. Don't always think that you have to improve those non-talents of yours. You don't have to. You're better off working on the skills that you already have, those things that you're talented, and becoming the very best at that. Because the effort to become the very best at your talent is not huge. But the effort to become good at something that you don't have a talent for can be so hard and so draining. So that's why, God created us with various talents. Some are plumbers and some are, brain surgeons. We need both. So just accept the fact that in some areas you're very talented and become the very best at that, and in some areas you're not so talented, and just get somebody else to do that for you or to help you out with that. So, but you have to have this awareness, you have to become vulnerable, and you have to be honest with yourself to know what you're good at and what you're not good at. And don't allow the non-talents to become your weaknesses. Just acknowledge that they are non-talents and just pass them on to somebody else, and you focus on what you're good at. You don't have to become good at everything. You don't need to be a jack of all trades. So I just hope that this helps you and it creates some good awareness here. There is an application section down the bottom there. Make a list of your strengths and an action plan to fully engage in them. So take your strengths, make a list of 5, 10 strengths and say, okay, how can I fully engage in this? How can I become better at this? How can I push to become the very best and to really, really perfect these? And then also make a list of your weaknesses and see who can help you with those. If there are some character weaknesses and they need to be fine-tuned, do work on these and transform those and change those. But if there are skill sets, you may not want to do anything too much about them, just acknowledge them. And when you need to engage in that side of things, just get help, get somebody else to do those for you. And just say, okay, I'm not good at that. As I said, I'm not good at tiling. Why would I even try to do tiling? It will take me 5 times the time. It will upset me. It's not for me. So I acknowledge that, that I don't have that talent. I don't let this become a weakness of mine. If I do need tiling, I just get somebody else to do it for me. And if I still want to be engaged in it in some way, shape or form, I just say, look, why don't you come and help me? You do the tiling and I'll help you. I'll bring the sand, I'll do the mix for you. I'll make sure that everything is fine. I just don't have the finesse to do it. So in either situation, I'm winning because I focus on what I can do, what my strengths are, and I don't allow the non-talents to become weaknesses in my life. So, acknowledging them, being vulnerable in seeking help, and be honest with yourself. So what I'm trying to do with these strengths and weaknesses today is to bring a sense of awareness, a sense of honesty in yourself to help you discover who you are, to help you discover what you're good at, what you're not so good at, what are talents, what are non-talents, what are strengths, what are weaknesses. And when you have this awareness, you will be able to manage them a lot better. Well, I really hope that this learning today gives you some deep insights into your own development, into who you are, and you become more in tune with yourself. If this content is good and wonderful and awesome to you, I would value it immensely if you could share it in your circle with your friends. Just tell others to watch it, to listen to it, and hopefully they'll give us 5 stars, and you yourself. And also, write some comments, give us some feedback, pop in some questions. Engage with us because we are listening, we are hearing you, and we want to help you develop and become the best version of yourself. We'll see you next time at another bit of clarity.
I'm Dr. Natanael Costea, and I thank you so much for joining me on this journey of clarity through emotional and spiritual awareness. If you feel blessed by this presentation, please subscribe, rate, comment, and share it wherever you're enjoying it. And until next time, this was a bit of clarity.